Welcome to War of the Mind podcast with Lauren Johnson, your weekly dose of real-life experience for you, by you, giving listeners the chance to share their story while helping others and giving us all the opportunity to listen or be silent no more. Paving the way for War of the Mind to share these life stories of struggles to triumphs, failures to promise. Here, we are all one, and as one, we can overcome life's journey towards finding our purpose.
And welcome back to another show of War of the Mind. I'm your host, Lauren Johnson. And today on War of the Mind, we're going to cover embracing your authentic self and how self-discovery leads to self-acceptance. So, I know in the last episode and the previous ones, we've been talking about self-control and, self-confidence and, self-esteem and how they compare. And today we're kind of going to go a little bit more in depth on where that comes from. And then, we'll start with self-discovery, and then that'll lead into other topics like self-love and will, self-awareness, self-acceptance, self-care, all that good stuff that we need in our lives. So, I've seen it firsthand, the importance of embracing your authentic self. Self-discovery is the key to unlocking probably your true potential and living a fulfilling life. We have some tips on how to embrace your authentic self and accept self-acceptance. The first topic would be self-reflection is the first step of self-discovery, which we've talked about before, and taking time and reflect. Reflecting is huge, and I firmly believe in that. It's something I've learned to do a lot. In the early stages of my recovery, I probably didn't, but I find how much growth and change I've done since, just last year, the year before, where I can look in my journals and read what I wrote this time last year, and the difference is just unbelievable and huge change. It's, I still have that low self-esteem, and I'll admit that. And it's getting there. So, take time to reflect on your life experiences, maybe your values, your beliefs, and goals. Ask yourself questions such as, what do you enjoy doing? What are your core values? This process, can help you identify your strengths and weaknesses and ultimately help you understand your authentic self. Second part is be mindful to your inner critic. Now, this is where a lot of us are really, really hard on ourselves and really judge ourselves. And sometimes we judge ourselves too hard, and that can burn on your weaknesses, and it can also burn on, lower your self-esteem and self-confidence. We all have an inner critic, but it's important to recognize, when it's being overly critical. Challenge your negative self-talk and replace it with positive affirmations. This can help you develop a healthier relationship with yourself and cultivate, into self-acceptance. third would be probably, surround yourself with positive influences. Now that, like the saying goes, you are who you hang around with. And I believe in that, and I've seen it firsthand for myself. So, surround yourself with people who support and encourage you to be your authentic self, not to be somebody you're not. You can't be with, even just be with somebody that tries to change you or make you into something. I've always hated that, when people get in relationships and the person they find tries to have their little ways of, bringing the person down or trying to make them be something they're not because they want, you to be something like, I don't know what I'm trying to say, like they are. And I just never understood that, because if you like somebody or fell for somebody in the beginning, that's who you fell in love with or like. Now, why would you change them? Because now they're turning into whatever you wanted, but the one you truly fell in love with now isn't who they were when you fell in love with them. So why would you try to change them? Because would you want them to be that same person you originally fell in love with or like? And I'm just speaking in general terms here. So surround yourself with, people, like I said, who support you and encourage you. That, this can be family, friends, even support groups. I just attended a support group this past week for the first time. It was for domestic violence and sexual assault, and I won't lie, I was the only male there, and I was just kind of, I was nervous and taken back because being a victim of it, it was, that stigma still exists of can't happen to men. And, right away I saw it because they already had like a poster, like they made like this puzzle game, and it had on there that male stigma was one of the answers. And one of the other girls in the group kept referring to how men do this, men, just men, da da da. And so they had to set boundaries in the class because it's not true. Yes, the statistics show more men than women, but in all reality, most men don't report it because they're scared of losing their status as a male. They don't report it because they feel like, they're weak or someone's going to rip on them for it or judge them for it, which is totally wrong. And it can happen to anybody. And, if you need help or anything, don't be afraid ever to reach out. There's plenty of support groups, whatever city, state, country you live in. By surrounding yourself with positive influences, you will, feel more confident in embracing your true self. And you can't go move anywhere in life if you don't embrace your true self. If you're embracing somebody you're not, you're gonna sit and go through life doubting and questioning on everything you do, feel like you're not who you are, and what kind of life that is that to live? It's not. It's, you know, it's something, it's really hard to come off of that stigma. And I was a little nervous about going to that meeting, but I realized it's gonna help me get through my struggle and trauma that I deal with on a daily basis. And I'm not afraid to, back probably 2 years ago, I wouldn't talk about any of it. And the further I am getting in recovering from the trauma and recovering from drugs and alcohol, I'm being able to talk about it. And talking about it is one of my coping skills. And, sometimes I avoid it because I really struggle with, self-acceptance at times. And, you need to embrace yourself and if you want to get somewhere in life. And that's why we're talking about this self-discovery. So embrace your imperfections as well. Nobody's perfect, and that's okay. Embracing your imperfections is an important step. Embracing your authentic self. Recognize that imperfections are a part of being human, and they don't define you as a person. They're just imperfections. Everybody's human. We all make mistakes. But there's a hindsight to that because, a lot of people say don't make the same mistake twice, which is kind of true because if you're sitting here constantly making the same mistake, well, then you're either just a bonehead or you just don't care. And, the next one is something that we all do and struggle with doing this. And I struggle with it. I know my parents do. I know a lot of people do. And it's hard because you want to, you want to do it. You don't want to hurt the other person, which if you're doing this, what we're going to lead into, trying to keep it a secret. If you're doing this, the other person's probably going to get upset about it, and that means you're doing it. And what do you think it is? It's setting boundaries. Setting boundaries is an important aspect of self-care and self-acceptance. Remember that. This includes saying no to things that don't align with your values, your beliefs, or taking a break from relationships that are not healthy for you. By setting boundaries, you are communicating to others that you value yourself, and your needs. Now remember that self-discovery is a journey, not a destination. Self-discovery is a lifelong process. It's important to be patient with yourself along the way. Embrace your journey and trust that you are on the right path. Remember that self-discovery is not about becoming someone else. It's about finding your true self, but uncovering and embracing your true self. Embracing your authentic self is a crucial aspect of self-discovery and self-acceptance. By practicing self-reflection, being mindful of your inner critic, surrounding yourself with positive influences, practicing self-care, embracing imperfections, setting boundaries, and remembering that self-discovery is a journey. You can cultivate a healthier relationship with yourself and embrace your authentic self. So remember, when we're talking about self-discovery, a lot of times we're talking about the journey that we're on, and everybody has a different, path. That's why judgment and all that stuff plays into it, because not everybody's path is the same. When someone gives you advice, there can be good advice, and then there can be the advice that they're trying to turn you into something you're not. And that's something you have to recognize eventually. Practicing self-discovery, you'll learn that if it doesn't feel right, you don't have to do it. And I firmly, think that, most of us know the path we're on, and know that when we veer off of that path, it's some believe in the universe and the whole equal balance of life. Some believe in spirituality as going to church and their faith, and whatever that is. Personally, I'm non-denominational. I go to a great church, and for me, when I stop going to my church, I have to recognize that that's when I'm starting to veer off my path, because that's usually when the bad things have happened to me, is when I'm not placing myself in my spirituality and my faith, and I can't do it myself. And this isn't a faith-based spirituality podcast, but spirituality plays part in self-discovery, and we have to remember that. It doesn't matter what faith you are or spirituality you believe in. I believe that everybody needs some sort of spirituality, whatever your higher power is, because that higher power will help you stay on the right path in your journey in life. So we're going to take a break here, so hold tight and we'll be right back. And I want to thank you all for listening to the show today. I appreciate all the views, and just go ahead and don't forget to share with your friends and family, and don't forget to like us on Facebook, The Voice Project, and we're also on Twitter at LJ Voice Project, and we also check out our email. Our website is ljvoiceproject.com. Email is contactus@ljvoiceproject.com. Or we also have Lauren, Loren Johnson, at ljvoiceproject.com. We're also on Instagram. All of those. Just write us on our webpage, and we can easily get back to you. Just leave us a phone number. Our WhatsApp phone numbers on there as well. So feel free to contact us. We're always available and free to answer. So I really hope to hear from you soon.